Welcome to the panel breakdown. I'm your host, Matthew Sardo. We're in the Monkeys Fighting Robots studio, and I'm recording on Stan Lee's what would have been his 100th birthday. And I was going through my long boxes and short boxes, and I have a whole bunch of beat up comic books. Like some have covers, some don't have covers. I got this Batman book hanging around. I got Batman Sons. I got some whole bunch of beat up books. And I was like, okay, what do I got here? Let's do something with the panel breakdown. And then I was like, boom, Daredevil by Stan Lee fighting Captain America. This is pure gold. And I just love to look back on these issues and see where we were, see where comic books came from. And this is an exciting time. I mean, this cover, a nice Jack Kirby cover. And this has definitely seen some better days, but you know, big Hulk figures doing epic poses and just getting into the action. And like you're in a ring. It's literally Captain America versus Daredevil in a boxing ring. This is like wrestling at its finest. So let's see what we're working with. Okay, another awesome epic by Stan the Man Lee and Gene the Dean Colan. Inking is by Vince Colleta and lettering by Artie Simek. Look, this is the history right here. This is the history right here. And this was published 1968. High glory here. You can see that this ink came over on this page. You got Daredevil. His costume really hasn't changed that much over time, it was just interesting. In combat with Captain America. And that's like, we've seen this font before. This is definitely a solid Marvel font. And I think this is what I liked as a kid, is like all the special effects lettering by Artie. Got Gene, Vince, and Artie. And right away, I love this is Daredevil. It's a dark comic. He's a dark character. He's got a dark past. And this right here, this dark panel, he's pining over Karen. He just pushed her away. But this right here, you see all the action and you see how many, let's see, one, he's doing a couple flips there and along. And I just like, Daredevil works really well with the black and the red. And then I really like the way they're doing flashbacks here with this squiggly panel design. And I don't know if this is part of this checker just making it part of the. No, that's not. But yeah, this looks really good. And this is a flashback. Daredevil breaks up with Karen. He's all depressed. Women, you're all like, you try to own a man. Well, nobody's owning Matt Murdock. If you're going, then go. And good riddance. Oh, the old-timey writing of comic books. But it was simple. Very simple. So now he's mad. And he's just like destroying his office. I do like these long panels. And this layer here. It just really, I like this. This is aesthetically pleasing to me. This big panel at the bottom, and they set up by these three panels here. Love this old school lettering right there. And this is pretty good. Look at that. That looks, this is not a very like 60s book. This has some modern aesthetic to it. So I like where we're going, because this right here is kind of dark, and then you get this like goofy splack over here. Very limited backgrounds. You'll notice that. And then we're at Madison Square Garden. Always good. We've seen this Daredevil. We've seen this superhero pose a million times. I wonder if they have that traced out and they're just like, all right, we're doing this maneuver. That's what they kind of do with animation, is they kind of save some things. And then we have another flashback here. I really like the way they do flashbacks. It separates everything. And they like this 3-panel, and then you either divide this up to here, but like there's a different height to this one. This is evenly cut, and then this. I like these it's very comic strippy at this point in time with these like big panels. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 panels here. And then they invert it, and they have the 3 panels on the bottom, about 5 letters. And then Daredevil finds some radiated product here, radioactive product, and it makes him go crazy. I didn't know that like he was radioactive sensitive due to his thing. I learned that new. I wonder if that's still in canon. Oh man, but this right here, this looks like a solid Frank Miller page right here. The crosshatch in here and this and that. Like if this was like a little bit darker, everything here looks like a nice Frank Miller look. And this is kind of what sets it back here. But like I like this angle, the action here, and then the way his word balloons work. They did a lot of overlapping on the word balloons. And then you get her quick Daredevil origin story. I felt like they repeated origin stories all the time in 60s books. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 panels and the Daredevil origin story is done. Madison Square Garden's looking solid. Captain America shows up. You can see like the inking is just, or not the inking, but the coloring for this, how the process was. Everything just overlapped. So you were lucky when everything looked crisp and clean like this. But then you get a Captain America and you're like, ah. Or Daredevil. Daredevil's just like all red, just all red. They're very limited with that. Like, look at all this overlap here. But I do like this like background of like things are off. These little dots right here. And you have a nice battle with Captain America. And like, again, this is a nice splash page, or it's a nice half page action shot. And you have the back and forth punching and these skinny panels. But they're really not giving you a lot. I mean, the panel structure then was very, I want to say comic strippy. Like if I look at a comic strip, like this could flow in a row and you can have this, they divided the page in half pretty much so that you can put these in a row. Maybe that's how they were still thinking. I like the shield, looks glorious. That coat, man. Look at the texture on that coat. And then it is on. Like it is on. Daredevil is consumed by the radioactive madness and whatever he touched. And he is just raging. And it's funny. Captain America's like, what? Is this a charity event? Zaboink? That's a zabonk? How would you pronounce that? Blang. Like, look at that. That is solid, like, oh, that is good. This is really weird. I was trying to this is really weird and really good. Like how Daredevil bounces off of the ropes here, and then he becomes like the Human Torch would look. But that's pretty good. I just like the way this looks. And then Captain America, like I like this perspective from Captain America's view, where he's like, oh man, I'm getting punched in the face and I can't see. And then he's like, whatever, I can just drop you like a sack of potatoes. This is good. I honestly, if you were a superhero fan or a big Marvel fan at the time, you know, Captain America and Daredevil fighting in a boxing ring is pretty much like what you want. You're like, oh man, this is awesome. There's really no villain in this. It's just them duking it out because Daredevil has a little issue with radioactive material. But again, I like these dark panels. I remember this hand pose. I've seen that, but he's like a solid gut punch. Like, who is this? Is this Superman flying here? He's doing a little backflip. And then is this the dots to where Captain America's shadow? This is interesting. I don't know what they're doing here, but there's some interesting stuff going on here. I like this here with the ring, the ring and the angles. And I do like this texture that they're using for that. I think it's darker. And then the beatdown leaves the ring. Yeah, you can do a lot of action with these 6 long panels. The word balloons kind of get a little overlapped here. Because this starts here and goes up to here. And you're supposed to come down here and back up to here and over here. Or maybe like you read it like this and this. But no, like it gets a little, because you come up, down, up again. So the flow on this is a little off, but I do like these long panels. And I'm really starting to like this texture, but then it always flip-flops. I wonder why. I wonder if they were trying to avoid dark bleeds from the colors. And I really wanted this to be Peter Parker. That would be the ultimate like cameo. Like, oh shit. But then why wouldn't he get involved? But it still looks like Peter Parker enough for me to think it's Peter Parker. Uh-oh. They're toppling into the elevator shaft. This looks good. Crashing through the windows of Madison Square Garden. And then the way this ends, Daredevil just realized the radioactive. The ending of this book just cracks me up because it literally is Daredevil realizing that this radioactive material made him go crazy, and he just walks away. And he's like, Cap will figure it out. And then Cap kind of like, I guess if he's just walking away, he had a reason. And I love this panel at the end. Like, this is literally everything that ever happened. This is Daredevil. This happens to Daredevil all the time. Daredevil wanted for murder, walking away. We've seen this walking away pose so many times, but this is still classic. Like, it's so dramatic. But yeah, man, these yellow backgrounds, that's supposed to be New York City streets, the yellow backgrounds. That's interesting. That's an interesting color choice. But yeah, the lack of detail, it just reminds me, it's just the 60s. It's kind of what I think of the 60s. It's lack of detail in yellow skies. But this was like a fun book to kind of just like go through and just see where we were and where we've come with technology and artistry and storytelling. This is the final page with the letters, and this is where I realized that the marketing of Stan Lee is just bonkers good. Like, they talk about this all the time, like getting your fan in marketing, your fans, your super fans, your the inner circle. There's different layers. Apple kind of makes a diagram of first adopters, people after that, all of it. And Stan Lee just has it all written out. A buyer of at least 3 Marvel mags a month, a fortunate frantic one who's had a letter printed, divinely inspired, no prize winner. I don't know what that means. One who recruits a newcomer to Marvel's rollicking ranks. Anyone possessing all 4 of the other titles. An honorary title bestowed for devotion to Marvel above and beyond the call of duty. Like, he literally explains like what you need to do to get to different ranks, so then you could go to your friends like, well, this is me. Like, I'm definitely a real frantic one, a buyer of 3 right now. I've never had anything printed in the letters. So I guess one who recruits a newcomer to Marvel's rollicking ranks. So a keeper of the flame. I'm probably a keeper of the flame. I don't know if I've ever, so I'm a keeper of the flame. That's where my rank is. Because I'm recruiting right now. But it's just really hilarious that like on Stan Lee's 100th birthday, I'm reading this and it's know ye these, the hallowed ranks of Marveldom. I could just hear Stan saying that. It's pretty amazing. This was a fun book to kind of go through. Are there any other older books that you want me to kind of go through? It's hard to get these beat up copies so I can like manhandle them and stuff. But if there's a Marvel book or a DC book or any older book that you want me to kind of look through, let me know in the comments below. We are really destroying it subscriber count wise. We might hit like 1,500 by the end of the year, and that'd be really amazing. Like we've just doubled subscribers since November and December, which is awesome. Subscribe to the channel, like, comment, do all that fun stuff. I'm Matt Sardo. This is the panel breakdown in the Monkeys Fighting Robot studio. Enjoy Stan's birthday, new comic book day, and we'll talk to you next week.